You have the idea, you have the drive, but there's that little voice in the back of your mind that keeps saying, well, what if I fail in public? What if my family see me fail? What if my friends, my enemies see me fail? People see me fail. What if I slip off the ladder and everything goes sideways and I can't pay my mortgage? That little voice in the back of your mind is the sabotage of everyone's entrepreneurship. And if you let it win, you'll never achieve the goals that you can and should achieve. I'm speaking from experience. I had my sliding doors moment where I could have stick or twist, and I decided to twist, and it paid off the dividends. I'm going to share what's generated over 10 million in revenue with you in the next 10 minutes of this video, and explain success and debunk anxiety and fear of launching your own business brick by brick. This is what success actually looks like, and you go through these phases. So the first question is, do we go? Are we ready to proceed? Are we ready to really, really take that leap? The answer to that question should almost always be yes. And the reason for that is that the worst case scenario is that you end up right back where you started. That is the worst thing that can happen. So when you're weighing this up and you have your job and it pays you $40,000 a year and you're thinking of launching your own company and going solo, just remember that that is not the only job in your position that you can take. You can find another role, you will find another job, and you should press go. There's very, very, very rare cases where you should not press go, okay? So now that that's debunked, you can't drive if you have your foot on the brake and your foot on the accelerator at the same time. It just won't work. The engine will just blow up or whatever it would do. But you cannot go forward and stop at the same time. You have to make the decision, and the decision needs to be final. So my first advice to you is stop tiptoeing around the decision. If you don't want to be successful, decide that that's the case. If you want to take risks and be successful, then shoot and don't allow anything to stop you, which is what I'm going to cover in the next section. But when you're in that situation where people feel risk averse, we are programmed to be risk averse. Humans are meant to live in the wild, right? Everything is a saber-toothed tiger that's going to eat you, right? And that's where the fight or flight mode comes from. That's why you have those feelings internally when anything happens. When you get on a plane, me personally, I don't like flying. I fly all the time. I don't particularly like flying. I feel uncomfortable on a plane. It's exactly the same thing that's happening when you're thinking about starting your own business. But you just play it up to be a massive thing. You play it up in your brain that something really drastic can happen that is negative, and it can't. The worst thing that can happen is you end up back where you are today. That is literally the worst thing that can happen. Outside of taking on copious amounts of debt, etc., which I don't advise that you do when starting your own business. Now, this is often where the majority of people sit, and they feel like they're walking on a tightrope, being judged by others, insecurity, internally, pressure, and you don't know which direction to go in order to be a success. And you end up sort of like a rabbit in headlights when a rabbit sees headlights and just stops when it should move out the way. That's what happens when you're walking your own tightrope journey. The thing with that is that it's the crabs in a bucket mentality. If you chuck crabs in a bucket and one of the crabs is nearly climbing out, one of them might escape. But what you will see is that other crabs grab the crab and pull the crab back down into the bucket. The moral of that story is that they're just trying to pull each other down. If I can't get out, you can't get out. So stay in here. And everybody will do that. Okay? Nobody will be on your wavelength. Nobody will believe in your dream, your idea. The biggest way, look me in the eyes when I say this, the quickest way to kill a big idea is to tell it to a small mind. Don't listen to the sound of anybody. It's your plan, it's your drive, it's your idea. As long as the idea is good and you have researched the idea and you know that you can make it pay, then, or you believe that you can make it pay, let me say, then go for it. Do not tell it to a small mind and let them suffocate you, because there's people out there now that are 50, 60, 70 years old that have been told all their life that they need to grow up, they need to get a job, They need to work and provide for their family, and it's the biggest scam known to man. What they teach in schools is the biggest scam known to man on this planet, right? You do not take that advice. You don't. That is not the way to provide. The way to provide is to do something that is hard. And I'm going to zoom in on this here because this is important. This says the 4th try. This is an example. It might be 10, it might be 1, it might be 2. It depends on your individual journey, okay? But success awaits if you do the things that are hard. Now, if it is hard for you to do, if it was easy, if making money and being successful was easy, everybody would have a Lamborghini, right? Massive yacht, women everywhere, or men everywhere if you're a female. You would just be loving life, Rolexes, diamonds, everything, right? Life would just be bliss. Everything around you would be brand new. That's the way it would be. It's hard to be successful, okay? Now, that is a good thing. And the reason why it's a good thing is because if it's hard for you to do, it's hard for everyone else to do. And that means that you will beat 99% of people on planet Earth in terms of success if you simply just continue to do the things that are hard. Things that are hard are very difficult to stick with. They are not easy to continue down a road when you feel like nothing is coming back the other way. You are sending Upwork applications with no response. You are doing free audits and not getting any response back. You are sending cold emails. No one's responding to you. You are calling, picking up the phone 180 times a day, 200 times a day, and getting rejected. That is hard to do. And that is a good thing because it means that everyone else will quit, apart from the 1%ers. And that is where you need to shift your focus. Enjoy the heat. Enjoy the journey. And I've got a big part on this at the end of this video about enjoying the journey. You have to enjoy the journey because it's like a video game. When you get to the end of your journey and you eventually become successful, when that finally happens, you'll be driving around aimlessly thinking, what the fuck was I trying to achieve? I've achieved it now. What's happened? Why? I don't feel any different. And you have a new set of goals, and then a new set of goals, and then your life ends. And that's the way that it goes. So you make the most of what you can while you're here, and you do it by staying in the flames, staying in the heat. When everyone else quits, you don't quit. Now, this is what success looks like. And, sorry about that. This is what success looks like. That's the text that you may or may not see is the castle is success and the text below is the valley of doubt. Now, everybody starts off here. Everybody starts off on this image and they start to try and they fail. Notice the red crosses on the board. It's difficult. It's something that's hard, but okay, I knew that it wasn't going to be easy right off the bat. So they go from here and they go into step 2. And this is incredibly hard because you're now a prolonged period into however long it takes. There is no time frame exactly on how long success takes. Some people can do it very quickly. Some people it takes a very long time. But they get into this second rung of the ladder, the second step. And here you see 50% of people quit. And if I quickly zoom in on this image, you'll see they take the easy way out. Their aspirations are on their back, but they've turned. Because they've realised how difficult it is. They're back to the 9-to-5 grind. They're back in their job. They're back being miserable and unhappy. With a boss who doesn't care about them. With somebody who doesn't look after them. That's where they are. Now, when it comes down to the step 3, which is this one. Apologies for that sound. When it comes down to step 3, This is what. So you lose 50% of people here. I mean, you could argue actually that, probably I will get that right eventually. 20% of people quit here. 30% of people quit here. And they take this horrible, slippery road back. And they do it simply because they're not willing to continue to try hard when it becomes hard. That is the fact. You lose another 49% here. And what is the most upsetting thing about that is that this is the tip of the iceberg. They were one step away from success and they blew it. And that is the story of so many entrepreneurs. It is frightening. You very well right now watching this video may be thinking about quitting, and this video is designed to tell you to stop thinking that failure is an option, because it isn't. The only option is, how long is it going to take me to be successful? That's what you should think. How long is it going to be? 49% of people quit here. And it devastates me. Because they were so close to this, being the champion, living the life they wanted to live. Whatever that is, however big you want to dream is how far you can take it. And they were so close, but they turned back in the valley of doubt. Instead of getting to the pot of gold, they quit. That genuinely makes me upset. My life changed forever when I made the right decision in the valley of doubt. When I went through those 4 steps and I decided that I was going to continue and persist through the pain. And now I'm left with a network, a very small network of people who I trust with my life. And those people are with me, and they are going to be repaid for staying there with me when I was in a position where I wasn't successful now. The ones who truly believed. The cheerleaders, if you like. The people that believed in you from the start, you should remember them when you make it. If not, you're a dick. You need to remember everybody, your enemies, and you need to remember everybody that was there. But success comes with a catch. The curse, the bitter fruit of success, is that when you get there, and again, I want you to look me in the eye when I say this. When you get there, there will be people hanging on your coattails. That girl that didn't like you before, or that man that didn't like you before, now suddenly finds you attractive. People feel entitled. And the scariest thing about entitlement is that it grows in the people that are closest to you. And that is a very, very, very difficult thing to weigh up and carry. People change, and they try and blame you and say that you're the one that's changed because you're successful. I haven't changed. I am the most generous person you will ever meet. If you knew somebody who actually knew me, ask them how generous I am. But somebody asks for something 7 times, and you give it them, and on the 8th time when they ask, you can't, for whatever reason, you're the devil. And the 1%ers watching this video, 99% of you are going to drop off. Even if you listen to me, you're not going to take it in, and you're going to quit, which is foolish. The world is built, literally look at the tax systems, look at the way that everything is built. It's built for you to be your own boss and to run a business. But the bitter fruit of success is that envy and jealousy and greed grows in people that are closest to you. And your enemies aren't the ones that you need to watch. You know who your enemies are. The problem is that the snakes in the grass, they're hard to see. And it very, very often is people close to you. And I am very, very lucky in my life that the people that were loyal to me when they were at my lowest have not changed one bit. I've tried to touch their lives in positive ways, and I have done. And I have never experienced the bitterness come from somebody who I truly love. somebody who I'm close to, but I am surrounded by successful entrepreneurs, and you better believe that a new set of problems occur when you become successful. But the first thing is that you don't quit. And in the valley where you're making the decision, and you're in the valley of doubt, halfway along that bridge, and it gets rocky, the wind is blowing, it's cold, I know, it's difficult, it's lonely, I know, I've been there. You're looking at yourself, but 4 years on. And if I would have stayed in that job, the only question that, if I could give myself some advice now, the only piece of advice that I would give myself is to be brave earlier. That's it. Nothing else. Everything will be okay. I would say, look myself dead in the eye, and I would say, everything will be okay. Don't worry. Go for it. Give it 100%. And if you do that, and you try, and then you fail, and you try again, and then you fail, and then you try again, and you fail, etc., one time you will get it right simply by the laws of probability, and you will be successful. And that message is where I'm going to end this video. I hope you've learned. Thanks for watching.